I am.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the October 6th, 2025 meeting of the Woodstock Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency, a regular meeting. And this is at 7:03 p.m. and we'll start with a roll call.
Mark Parker,
Stuart Peasley,
Kathy Barrick,
And Bill Rowinski, and it looks like Marla Butts is not joining us tonight so far. Okay, we have a quorum. We have action on, sorry. We have no alternates to appoint. Action on minutes of the previous meeting, the regular meeting of September 8th, 2025. Does anybody have any comments or changes?
I didn't see anything. I thought they looked well done.
Yeah, I didn't notice any need for change or correction. Else?
I just wonder what Marla would say, since she usually has.
Well, a lot of times we find the same things, so
Yeah,
or similar things anyway, so. Mark, do you have any comments?
yeah, I'm just doing a quick scan right now. So far, I'm not really seeing any problems with anything.
I mean, narrative wise, I didn't find anything spelling wise or otherwise, I didn't find anything.
Leanne, I liked your formatting. I thought it was very accessible and easy to process.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the
Yeah, it's
feedback.
Good job.
it is a good format.
Thank you.
I looked at this once and I couldn't find anything that I would even make a comment on. I mean, there's certainly enough information here that,
Oh, I see that Mark's still perusing there.
Yeah,
Pardon?
I'm currently on page 7, so hang in there. Yep, I'm pretty much good with everything. I guess the only thing is, I mean, we all know what the acronyms mean, but I wonder if, if the public were reviewing these, documents, they should know what a POCD means. But I'm thinking that maybe at least once going into the future, at least once in the document, we should put in parentheses what, POCD means, what, DEEP means, what URA means, and, at least you do it just once at least. And then when those acronyms are used for the later on in the document, people knows, oh, a URA is an upland review area. We all know what it is, but, for someone from the public, if they were reviewing the minutes, I guess that would be the only comment I would make going forward. That when the minutes are printed up and we are using, acronyms for, different, phrases, at least once in the document, you should have in parentheses what it actually means or spells out.
John, do you have any experience with that you would like to comment on?
With overall formatting?
No, with the acronyms.
Oh, that's in generally speaking, the first time you use it, spell out the whole thing and put it in parentheses, and then you can use the acronym beyond that? Like we probably want to indicate at least at the beginning what
Correct.
the full acronym means.
Right,
I would tend to agree with that.
That's the point I was making. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe we should ask our non-members that if any of them have read the minutes, if they have any opinion.
Well, we can address that as citizens' comments. Yeah,
Okay.
Bill can ask that question during citizen comments. But as far as this particular part of the agenda, I would make a motion that we accept the minutes as printed.
I second.
we have a motion made by Mark Parker, seconded by Kathy Barrick to accept the minutes from the September 8th, 2025 meeting as printed. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? The motion passes unanimously. Okay, next we'll move on to citizens' comments. This is the area of our meeting where we can, if somebody would like to comment on something that's not on the agenda already, and that is brief in nature, this is your chance to offer some comments.
So, Bill, why don't you ask the question? Any of the citizens who are listening, well, I'll do it. Any of the citizens who are listening, do you know what the acronyms mean? Would you like to see it, spelled out in the very first time it's used in the minutes?
Well, a couple of them are muted, I think, but did any of you read the minutes?
This is Chuck Kaiser. I'm an observer of tonight's meeting, citizen of Woodstock. No, I did not read the minutes, but what Mark mentioned earlier, spelling out, the agency's name or program name first in a document, and then putting in an abbreviation, its acronym, is pretty standard practice in technical documents. So it would be a good idea to employ that here too. I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to offer any comments on anything that's not on the agenda already this evening? Okay, not hearing anything, we'll move on to pending applications. Application 08-25-01, 37 Phelps Road, map 5130, block 30, lot 14B, George F. Place, Irrevocable Trust, care of Russell Barber, Timber Harvest.
So for this one, Mr. Chair, I don't know that there's anyone here representing the application. I'll shut up if there is. But where I had left it, and I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you can see.
Yeah.
So the thing that held this up last time was the name on the property listing per the town's assessor system, and the name of the applicant were different because this was property of George. I'm sorry, it was the George Place Irrevocable Trust. Russell Barber was the executor, and we didn't have any indication that he had power of attorney or that this applicant had the legal right to speak for the trust. And so the applicants submitted to me photos of the power of attorney form where the George Place appointed Russell Barber as the executor and granted him power of attorney. You'll see it's all initialed, signed and witnessed, notarized. So the hope was that this is the proof, even though the town hasn't formally recorded that in their land use system, that we have evidence of a power of attorney to represent the application. That was the thing holding it up. Otherwise, it is it's a timber harvest.
Yep. So I looked today and I didn't find any evidence of the trust in the land records.
Sometimes these things, particularly when it's a probate situation, can take a little time. But speaking of staff, I'm satisfied that Mr. Russell Barber has the rights to submit the application on behalf of the trust.
I move we approve request for timber harvest use as a use permitted as of right. And what was the number here?
08-25-01.
Correct. 08-25-01, 37 Phelps Road, George F. Place, Irrevocable Trust, Timber Harvest. So I move that we approve that application.
I second.
What, guys?
Kathy, you have a comment?
No, I just was gonna second the motion, but
Okay. Any further discussion? My only comment at this point is that we get did application that just says George F. Place for it to be full approval, that it's null and void until we get that application. That's my suggestion. If somebody would want to amend, or if you want to vote the way it is now, that's
I'm
think
sorry,
that's
could you clarify that, Bill? What are you saying?
I would prefer to have an amended application or corrected application submitted that just says George F. Place without the irrevocable trust.
George F. Place, I believe, is dead.
Yes, he passed away.
He passed away.
Yeah, so so his son, Russell Barber, is the power of attorney. He has the authority to. So I think it's okay to have this his name on there.
Okay, I mean, we have the motion already. Motion by Mark Parker to approve application 08-25-01, 37 Phelps Road for George F. Place Irrevocable Trust, care Russell Barber for timber harvest, seconded by Stuart Peasley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? So the motion passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to application 09-25-01, 0197, map 5124, block 19, lot 20, Glen M. Lee, wetlands crossing for driveway construction for future residents.
And Mr. Chair, I believe Norm Tebow from Killing Engineering is here. I've put the site plan up on screen. Norm, please direct me if you need me to change the view or the document on screen.
No, it looks good. For the record, Norm Tebow, Killingly Engineering Associates. I am a licensed professional engineer and a partner at Killingly Engineering. I am here representing Mr. Glenn Lee this evening for this proposed crossing of the wetlands. It is an existing sort of woods path, logging road that has been used for years to access the property. That's a total of a little over 22 acres. And Mr. Lee is ultimately going to be building a home on the other side of the wetlands here. This is the narrowest point of the wetlands on the property. As you go further to the west, it gets very broad, and it is sort of channelized as you go further to the east, but and it's a little bit wider. So we chose the point that has been utilized. Right now, it's a very steep access, 27 to 30% in a couple of the areas. And it really isn't accessible at all by a vehicle like a regular car or a pickup truck or anything like that. So what we're doing is formalizing it. The existing point where we're going to be, where we're proposing to disrupt 1,125 square feet of wetlands. There is an old farmer's crossing there. It is compacted, larger cobbles and stones. I've not seen water running there. I was there one time after it rained, and you could actually hear the water trickling below the surface through these stones. I don't know how long it's been there, but I imagine it's been decades that was put in and it's been utilized to access the property. We're going to augment that by putting in an 18-inch pipe to address any kind of excessive runoff conditions. We determined that for the watershed is only about 19 acres. It's probably even less than that, but if you look at the GIS mapping where the contours actually converge, there is a significant portion of the watershed that appears to cross over Route 197, and that's not likely the case. But to do it conservatively and to design and evaluate conservatively, we assumed that that entire 19 acres is coming through this point. The driveway will be 12 feet wide, cross-sloped to a riprap swale that we're putting on the west side of the driveway. And that riprap swale will terminate into a level spreader on a flatter part of the terrain before discharging into the wetlands. The drainage area to the swale is only about 7,500 square feet. It's really not much area at all. The remainder of the area is going to remain wooded, and we are showing the clearing limits, really kind of limiting it to where we have to do the grading in order to make the driveway slope compliant with the driveway ordinance. I think that's about it. Like I said, he will be constructing a home further to the south on the property. That home will be completely out of the upland review area. And but clearly, if at any time we are doing any additional clearing or disrupting of the soil within the upland review as a result of building this home, we would have to return to this commission.
The only question is backing up to the details of the cross section where the culvert, just what I have in front of me, I can't read the distance between the top of the culvert and the top of the driveway level. Is that 18 inches?
It's at least I believe it's a little over 2 feet.
Okay, because I can't read on the details.
Yep.
Printed it out small, so okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, well done. I move we approve application 09-25-01, Route 00, whatever. What is that? Route 197? Is that?
I have
Yeah.
one question about that. Just a quick, Zero Route 197, I've heard more than once.
Right. Any properties that do not that are not assigned an address, the assessors will just has them as 0, and they're identified on the land records by map, block, and lot.
So
Okay.
map, yeah, so 0 Route 197, map block, lot 5124, 1920. Glenn M. Lee, wetlands crossing for driveway construction for future residents. So I move to approve.
I second.
Motion by Mark Parker, seconded by Kathy Barrick to approve application 09-25-01, 0 Route 197, map 5124, block 19, lot 20, for Glen M. Lee Wetlands Crossing for driveway construction for future residents. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Thank you very much, Norm.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome. Moving on, the new applications. Application 09-25-03, 11 Laurel Hill Road, map 7272, block 34, lot OF31. Daphne Naylor Smith, determination of as of right or non-regulated use, proposed removal of invasive plants along the waterfront.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. So John asked me to be here tonight to kind of clarify what would be removed and the process of removal. And so according to my person at Creative Exteriors who would be doing the work, it would be the cattails, and also some saplings, which are some maple, some black birch, and some oak. And also I guess some sedge grass along the water's edge. The process of removal would be a spade shovel for the cattails. And then for the saplings that are along the water's edge, we would use a mini excavator because they're not in the water, they're on land.
I guess the only comment I would make is that cattails are not an invasive species. Now, Phragmites are. And cattails are good for the health of the lake because they will remove nutrients, nitrogen and nutrients from the water that seeps down through them before they get into the lake. That would also help to reduce water algae from growing if the nutrients are already removed by the cattails. So my only suggestion was if you want to remove some of the cattails, but you don't want to remove all of them because they are good and healthy for the environment of the lake. But all the other vegetation that you mentioned I would consider invasives and you should probably remove.
Okay, thank you.
So
Yeah,
Mark, do you want that to be a requirement or are you making that a recommendation?
Mark,
I would like, yeah, go
Mark,
ahead, Kathy. Yeah.
can I give you just a little background information? I live on Lake Bungie, and
Yep,
when
okay.
we bought on Lake Bungie 22 years ago, there was very little vegetation along this particular part of the land into the water. There's a lot of purple loosestrife around there that seems to keep reproducing.
Yes, that is an invasive and that definitely should be removed.
Yes,
Yeah, right,
yes.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if there's any in here because it's not the season to see the purple flowers, so you can't really tell. But my question is, I'm wondering why they want to remove the saplings too, just as a point of interest.
for some sight lines. And they're kind of blocking part of our yard from viewing the lake.
For the view. Okay, see, those were probably about 12 inches tall when I.
No, these are much larger.
They've
Okay.
grown.
They've grown.
Yeah,
We've had a lot of growth. We've been there for 15 years.
yeah.
And we've had quite a bit of growth, and the cattails have actually really exploded in the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And just everything that's growing up is actually like encroaching on our dock and growing through the slats, and that's why we're kind of looking to have some of this work done.
Have Creative Exteriors suggested putting in a wall?
I don't want a wall along the lake.
Yeah.
That's my point of view. I mean, if you think that is beneficial, it's something I'd consider, but
Yeah.
I personally like the more natural look of just an edging.
Yeah. The cattails don't grow as tall as the trees, so the trees definitely should come out. But again, not only will the cattails, absorb the nutrients that are coming off the land and into the water, but also they'll create a buffer, slowing the wave action down so it won't eat away at the shoreline any. But if you want to have a beach area kind of sandwiched in between, some of the the cattails, that would be my recommendation, because even though maybe the cattails weren't there 20 25 years ago, if they've come in now, that's a good thing because they're native. The purple loosestrife actually outcompetes and can drive out the cattails, so that's why I'm saying the loosestrife should come out. But if you could leave some of the cattails, that would be healthier for the lake. And it will also
I'm not opposed to leaving some
Yeah.
cattails.
yeah, leave some cattails. That would be my recommendation. I don't want to make it a requirement, but
Okay.
that would be my
Thank you.
recommendation. Yeah.
Most of the purple loosestrife is across the road anyway, and there's a lot more cattails there growing too, so that's probably where Daphne's came from.
Yeah. Yeah, the
No.
seeds that come off the cattail heads are the seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree though, Daphne. I think that the natural look is certainly more pleasing. The problem is, and I don't know if you have seen any of this with the water. Now you don't get a lot of wave action in that cove.
Right.
But we spent a bazillion dollars, I don't remember how much, to dig out that whole cove. I don't know, somewhere 5 to 10 years ago. And it's all exactly what it was before we dug it out. It's all come back. So I think the waves, whatever waves there are, wash under the edge of the land and pull
And pull it into
soil
the
out there.
water.
People have,
Right. Right.
yeah.
So
This is
if
much
you
where you see the
right.
edge.
So that's why I'm saying
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
sorry,
leave
go ahead,
if
Mark.
you leave the cattail roots in place right along the edge there, it's got to be probably a couple of feet, a foot or two. At least they'll hold. Any
Right.
well, they'll slow the wave action down, but also after heavy rains, any silt or any kind of debris that may kind of wash down the slope toward the lake will get stopped and caught by those cattails right around the edge, and it will prevent them from getting deeper into the water,
Right. Yep.
filling in that cove. So that's what I'm saying. They not only reduce the nutrients before they get into the water, they also hold back the silt and soil right there at the edge point, and not getting it pulled back into the water by the wave action. So, yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So being the newbie here, would this come under as of right or non-regulated use?
Do you have an opinion on that? I was just going to ask that question because that's,
John?
I mean, it could qualify as maintenance enjoyment of property with the restriction that it's only done when the water's low.
Mhm.
Yeah, based on how the discussions have gone with this commission before, I would tend to think that this would fall under the maintenance and enjoyment of a residential property.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, if somebody would like to propose a motion on that,
I propose a motion that we accept the application as stated, and this is for 09-25-03 at Laurel Hill Road. We want to allow the removal of invasive plants with some discretion of the cattails and the saplings. And this would be done during the winter when the water edges were lowered, the water level was lowered, and at the least amount of disruption as possible. I think that's it.
I will
Okay,
second that.
Okay, you're saying that, you would say then that as permitted as use as of right?
For maintenance and use of
Enjoyment and maintenance
enjoyment
of,
and maintenance of property.
Okay, just to clarify, you said accept this application. We
You mean
could approve it.
receive for consideration, right?
So you're saying you want to receive it for consideration? We do not have to do that, but we typically have done that in the past.
Well, I think we're granting approval, correct?
That's what I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and grant approval on this
Okay.
for maintenance and use of enjoyment of property.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yep. So that's the motion, and Kathy, you want to second it?
I did.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Daphne.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Yep,
Daphne.
Good night.
thank you, Daphne.
Okay. New application 09-25-04, 27 Loyola Road, map 6393, block 65, lot 96, John Napolitano, proposed repair of lakefront wall.
Hi, everybody. This is John.
Hello.
Hi, John.
How you doing, everybody?
Good.
As you can see from my photo, that my wall is in need of repair. And I'd like to repair it when we lower the lake. So there'll be no water near it and there'll be no equipment involved in the lake, and it will be easy to repair this winter. And that's what my application is. And then while we're in there, it's going to get all mucky. So I want to just take a little bit of the muck out and put a little fresh sand there.
Okay,
But
that was
I'm not going to add any more. I'm not going to add any more material because I'm going to use what's there. I'm just going to reconstruct the wall, bring it back straight.
John, I'm not familiar with these kind of blocks. Is that completely a drywall, or is there anything cement or
No,
anything holding it together?
In the back where you see like the little lantern posts, there's crushed stone behind. Yeah, right where you have the arrow. There's crushed stone and everything behind there. But over the years, Mother Nature, the water gets in there and it doesn't all drain and it gets icy like that, and then it pushes it forward, and then you can see how it opens up. Well, my little grandkids can get their feet in there, so it's time to repair it. So I figured this is a good year to do it, and I done it before, and we do it when they lower the lake. So there's no water involved, there's no equipment being in the water, and we'll just go in there and they'll dig where the lanterns are, and we bring it backwards, back towards the grass. And what they'll do is just rebuild it, use the same block, same everything. That's maybe they'll have to bring some more stone on the back of the wall like that, but they'll reconstruct it and put new cloth back there so the water drains. And then in 15, 20 years, it will do the same thing. You know, it's Mother Nature. Mother Nature, she's wonderful.
Then
It's
it'll be the
beautiful.
grandkids' problem.
That's, yeah, well, then it'll be, that's right. Then it'll be the grandkids' problem after that. Right now, it's my problem because I don't want them to get hurt.
You know?
Because then I got to deal with my daughter-in-laws and my sons.
Yeah, it looks like the wall is leaning out just slightly, so when you rebuild it, you'll want it angling inward. So that it,
Right.
yeah,
Well,
so that it
yeah,
won't
and that's
blow
how it
out.
originally
Yeah,
was.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
And
right,
that's how it originally was.
right,
But
right.
now it's moving in.
It's, yeah, yeah.
So I want to, so, and I won't do it. I guess they're going to start lowering the lake in November. So it probably won't be done until in December like that. You know, when the water is down. Usually the water goes out from that wall, it goes out 25 to 35 feet. So the water won't be in any play.
Yeah.
This is an application for a permit, and we would be voting to accept it tonight for the November meeting. The only thing I would like to see is a site plan that if you could just draw a picture of the areas you intend to take the muck out and where you intend to put the
Well, it's
sand.
right, the area is just right there, right in front of the wall. Because when we
Yep.
go in there, as you can see, the trees are there and the stuff is there. When the tree, like right now, as we're speaking, the leaves are falling and it just falls down right in front of that wall area. So
Yeah.
while we're in there, it's gonna be soft. So I figured we'd remove some, because we're gonna be working by that wall. We would just remove some of that muck and haul it out. We're not gonna throw it out into the lake. We're gonna haul it away, and then we're just gonna push some fresh sand. And actually, you can, yeah, you're looking at the, yeah, see where that canoe is right there? Right there,
Yeah.
that's the wall, right there, right?
Yeah.
Right to the, there you go, there, you got it. Right where you're drawing the arrow.
Oh, so
on the
it
dock
it
there, you
makes a
can see-
curve.
Yeah, well, if you look at the picture, you'll see the curve. There you go.
Yeah.
And that's where it's all coming apart.
I think
That's an old picture.
what Bill is asking for is that if you could write out kind of an order of construction, so, first stage, remove muck, blah, 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 blah. Second stage, and where you're gonna take the muck and so forth. And then, then we're gonna
Well,
bring in,
that's up to the contractor, because he's gonna come down and he's gonna haul it away. It'd be nice if I can bring it down to the farm, my buddy down here at the farm. But if I can, that's where I'm gonna bring it. If
Right,
not,
right.
the contractor's gonna haul it away. There's not gonna be that much. If you're lucky, if you get, you can't get in there with big equipment because you're gonna come along the side of my property.
right,
Right there in the
exactly,
thing.
yeah,
So, I don't expect to take a whole lot out of there.
right.
And, it's only gonna go down the road on Quasit Road, down
Yep.
to the farm down there, Cutler Farm.
That's
And,
I have no problem with that. What Bill is asking for is we'd like you to put it in writing so that we can, when we vote on it next month, we'll have a copy of you write all the stages.
Okay, so I'll write it out and bring it down to John?
Yes,
Mhm.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll add it to and if you want, John, I can just do a screenshot of this to put it in the record so we can see, the whole property.
Right.
And just at least a sketch to say where you plan to remove the material from.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'm gonna move the material. If you look at the picture of the wall that I'm showing you, that I sent you, and you
Yeah.
can see the water right in front of the cracks. You put the picture back up there. All right, you see the cracks? And
Yep.
you see the water right there in front of the cracks along the wall? Well,
Yeah.
that water, yeah, right where you are, right down there in the water. Well, that water is not gonna be there no more. And that's the muck I'm taking out.
Okay,
Right
well,
in front of
we just need to know the extent that you plan to, of the area you plan to excavate there.
Okay,
So
Just how
yeah,
far
John,
it's- how
we
far
just need to
are
put
you
it in,
going?
we'll put it in writing for you.
Yeah, I'll do
Correct.
that. I'll take care of it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
That's not a problem. I'll do it, what you need to do.
Correct.
John,
Okay.
may I ask a question?
Yes.
Is, do you feel that you need to remove the muck? Is it really mucky there, like when people are swimming?
You know what?
or-
I don't really need to remove it. But what
Okay.
happened back, I don't know how many years ago, because I forget time. You know, when you get old, you forget time, right?
Yep.
So at one time, years ago, maybe when it was the previous, when I put this wall in, I probably went out, and it's probably in the record somewhere, I probably went out 25 feet. And I think I took a foot deep of muck out for the whole width of the property and hauled it away. And I put in 3 inches of fresh washed sand. Well, right now, it's mucky through that whole area because Mother Nature, and when the boats go around and the leaves fall from the tree, and just like you said from the previous person, the silt washes from the land and all that, it gets mucky there again.
Right. You've
But
got
I
a
don't
layer
have
of
to
muck.
go, yeah, and I'm not gonna go out 25 feet now. I just want to clean it right in that area. Right? So what I'll do is I'll draw you a sketch and I'll go from that wall and I'll go out 10 feet and I'll come out and give it to John.
That's fine, as long as we have something to go by.
Yep.
We just have to sometimes people say one thing and another thing happens, so at least if we have a,
Well, I'd like to go, I would love to go out, I would love to go 6 feet deep and go out 100 feet, but can't do that.
yeah,
Right.
But anyways,
You can work with, yeah.
my most important thing is I need to fix my wall.
yep, yep. We fully understand and appreciate that.
All right.
Do we have
All
a
right, so
motion?
John, I'll see you, if I don't see you tomorrow, well, I'll drop it off in your office probably tomorrow afternoon.
Okay,
We still have to act on this.
yeah.
So, would somebody like to make a motion on this application?
Or John, do you want me to drop it off when you're there?
Yep.
It's up to you. There's really only someone there in the morning. So if you're around in the morning, you can drop it off with either me or Tracy, depending on who's around.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion that we accept for consideration application 09-25-04, 27 Loyola Road, for work on repairing the wall, and with the submittal of a written work plan, working with John Koskowski, our wetlands agent, for submitting that for the next meeting.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark Parker, seconded by Stuart Peasley to accept application 09-25-04 for 27 Loyola Road for John Napolitano. Proposed repair of lakefront wall for consideration at the November wetlands meeting. I believe we've had plenty of discussion. Does anybody have any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Who seconded that?
Me.
Stuart.
Stuart made it. Okay, thank you, Stuart. Okay.
Any opposed, any abstentions? The motion passes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you, John. You too.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, next, the Woodstock Academy. So John, can you update us on this if there's something that,
Sure. So this is my last set. Oh, okay, I just was going to bring up the site plan. So this was submitted by the Woodstock Academy last week. They are proposing to expand the organized parking behind the Luce Performing Arts Auditorium. So if you can see the screen, on the right side of the site plan is Route 169, running past the Woodstock Academy South Campus, formerly the high school, and the auditorium is here in the front. The parking is to the rear. They're proposing to expand parking in the Upland Review area. So I think it's, you know, it's going to require a little bit, you know, explanation and you know, review, but it's, you know, I think they're just looking to have it received this evening and scheduled for conversation on the November meeting.
Okay, Bill Rowitsky, John, this is, I'm looking at the application,
Mhm.
and if you look at 4D, because we had already approved
4D,
this
1, 2, 3.
project
Where's that? 4D.
on the application.
4D. Yeah, okay. Renewal of permit to construct 156.
Okay, they have 5 years, but they're in the 4th year, so they're looking to renew this. Perhaps they know they're not going to get to it within the next year. So it looks like they're just looking for a renewal.
Of that part, but there's you see in 4B, you've got construction of a new parking area with 6,100 square feet of disturbance in the regulated. It seems like there's a couple of things going on.
Okay, so I'm not sure whether any of
Unless they
these-
got that permit, they got a permit and didn't act on it is that what you mean?
Yeah, it was in 2021, I saw somewhere.
Okay,
I think it's on the drawings,
could be. Let's see.
October 21st, 2021.
Yeah. Right. This is like, yeah.
That says approved by planning and zoning. So unless they've made any design changes, they're just looking for, it looks like they're just looking for renewal.
Yeah, that is what I'm sorry. That is what it looks like. Yeah, here's the existing parking is shown on site plan sheet 1. The proposed parking on sheet 2, which is a bunch more 3 new aisles of parking. And yeah, as you point out, Mr. Chair, this was approved back in 2021, but incomplete.
Said they still have a year left on their permit,
Yeah.
but perhaps they're not ready to move forward with it and would like to continue the permit. That's my understanding. If somebody sees something else, let me know.
I think that's right.
So since this is renewal, I don't know that we need to accept it and vote on it next meeting. I think we can process that right here and now. Would somebody like to create that motion?
Yeah, there's no change, right? It was.
As
it was
far
just-
as we know.
We're looking at the site plan that was submitted as part of the application it is from 2021. So this is what was approved.
Okay. So then, yeah, I would agree with you, Bill. So I move that we reapprove or whatever, renew the application.
We accept the application for renewal.
Yes.
Well, we'd have to approve it, not necessarily accept it. For accepting,
Approve the renewal, essentially, is what.
Approve the renewal.
Or approve the renewal application. And then we can issue the approval next month. Or we do it tonight.
well, if we accept it, then we have to do it next month. If we approve it, it can be done and over right now. We can do that. We don't have to accept something for the next month. And since this is pretty straightforward renewal,
If there's no change, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
and that's your intention, Mark?
Yes, I would move that we approve the renewal.
Okay, we have motion made by Mark Parker, seconded by Stuart Peasley to the approved renewal of for the permit of application 10-25-01, 150 Route 169, map 6395, block 64, lot 11, Woodstock Academy parking lot expansion at Loose Center. And noting the approvals of October of 2021 and no changes to the design as far as we were informed of. Does anybody have any further?
One thing to think about in the future is when it says renewal, it could say renewal of approved permit. So just a slight clarification.
Yeah, either that or, yeah, renewal of,
Because
of approved permit and then list the original permit number.
Right, so that we don't talk about the difference between an application and approval.
Right.
I have a question on that. Okay, it's been 4 years since their original application and approval. What they're proposing to do hasn't changed. Do we have any idea that where they're proposing to do it has changed, or if there's any possibility? I'm not real familiar with that area, so.
If they submitted these,
Not geologically.
yeah. If they submitted these documents, this is where we're doing the same thing.
Okay,
It's a renewal of a permit that based on the same conditions.
okay. Then
We're extending the timeline another 5 years from today.
that makes sense.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? The motion passes unanimously. Okay, next. Administrative business. John, you want to?
And we have one more.
No, I'm sorry, Bill. Yeah, there was one more that came in this afternoon.
Which one is that?
Here, I'll show you. This is
Ann?
it's on, Ann Ambert on Route 169. They're proposing ultimately a new single-family residence. The application is here. There's not that much detail. It's a new house. Miss Ambert lives on 1041 Route 169. They also own the property across the street at 1050 Route 169. They want to put a new home there. All we have is the application form that she filled out basically before Tracy left the office, just so she could get on the agenda. It's that she filled out an application and paid a fee. We have very little information, and particularly no real wetlands mapping. So this is the property in question. It's bounded. Can you see, is my screen shared?
Yeah.
It's bounded on the east side by Route 169, on the west side by County Road. So it's a large property, goes across. I was told today verbally by the building contractor who's going to be working on this that they'd like to bring a driveway in from County Road and build in this field down here in the southwest quadrant of the property. Obviously, the DEP soils map shows some wetlands corridor over here. It would be likely, though not certain, that certain parts of the construction project would be in the upland review area. But they number one, didn't have a site plan yet, and number two, didn't have the wetlands mapped. So there's a few unknowns. I guess they wanted to get this underway, so they threw in an application, but this isn't a lot to go off of.
John, can I just ask a question? When somebody comes in with an application that's not complete, why can't we just say, okay, well, and when you have all of the materials necessary, then come back?
Yeah.
We can't really even talk about this without.
Right. Well, and certainly also without someone here to talk us through it. Yeah, I mean, the trick is people don't want to, I mean, and again, this all happened this morning.
Right.
And, you know, broadly speaking, when you're dealing with statutory timeframes, people want, you know, to get the process started. And so, you know, she submitted an application, signed her name, and gave us a fee. So in many ways, that's an application. It's, you know,
But it's
I suppose it would be
incomplete.
in your discretion. It's you know, dramatically incomplete.
Yeah.
So if you know, basically the thing I advise people and advise commissions is that, well, in this case, I'm not 100% sure for wetlands, but on something like this, if this was a planning and zoning application, you accept it, you schedule the hearing, you schedule the next meeting, and if they still haven't submitted sufficient information, well, then you deny it for cause. But you know, they just haven't. But it's generally not good policy to like reject the receipt of an application that has been filled out and paid for. Statutorily, the application is live, so this process has started. Obviously, you have a lot more discretion to refuse to grant a permit because we know nothing. But anyway, sorry, Mark.
Yes, so yes, we receive for consideration the application, the clock starts, and we have, I think it's 60 days to make a decision on that. So at this point, we receive the application, but we also stipulate that it is not a complete application, and we will require additional information for the November meeting. Now, when the November meeting comes around and they still don't have enough, we can either, you know, deny without prejudice because of an incomplete application, or we could say we put it off another 30 days and they need to submit boom, boom, boom more. So yes, Stuart, we can at least accept what we've got so far, but we need to also stipulate we need a little bit more information. And John Guskowski can help them, you know, fill that gap for the next meeting. So
I'm not
I would
fighting the
move that
wetlands program,
we accept for consideration. What was the application number, John?
10/25/03.
10/25/03. So I would move that we accept for consideration with and letting the applicant know that we need more information, a more complete application to consider. But at least they have started the clock and they've got 60 days to get everything in order for us to vote on it.
That's December 8th.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, Mark, was that a motion?
Yes, that was a motion.
I'll second the motion.
So the one thing I'd note, Mr. Chair, is that again, we don't know precisely where the wetlands are and where their construction project is. I think it's very possible that they would come in and be, you know, more than 100 feet away. It's a big lot. And I guess my question for you guys procedurally is if they come in with something that's 75, 80 feet away from in the upland review area, would the commission be okay with an administrative review
Right.
on that?
A wetlands agent
If
sign
it's
off.
right,
Yes.
you know, within those parameters. Obviously,
Yes.
if it's in the wetlands, if it's real close to the wetlands, if they're, you know, grading off right nearby, but if it's standard single family residence and all the activity is, you know, 60, 70, 80 feet away,
Then I would approve that as a wetlands agent sign off.
so we'll see. And so this may shift.
Okay, the only thing they checked off on the
Go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
the only thing they proved, they checked off is deposition of material.
Yeah.
So proposed activity.
So, you know, what I would propose is that next month, this may show up on proposed administrative approvals rather than pending applications, but we'll see.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. If you determine that, John. Yeah.
Okay, the only issue I have is that, and I don't know if this is in our regulations or where this is documented, but there's a deadline for submitting something for a meeting.
Mhm.
And we've talked about this before, about the Thursday or the recommended last business day before the meeting.
Yeah, it's,
So-
I mean, that you need statutorily, you need 24 hours.
Yeah.
So
So it
this,
should have
this,
been
what
in last Thursday.
you're technically under no obligation to receive it tonight. We should
Yeah.
note that
That's true.
because you weren't given 24 hours.
Right.
Well, and if they don't have all the information together, we've actually cut them off. We've cut them their time.
Yeah.
By starting them
Yes.
this early.
That's absolutely right. That they may not get it. You know, if this was, say, a 60-day project to, you know, in
Right.
terms of laying out and designing, yeah, they may have shot themselves in the foot by starting the clock now. But this is what they wanted to do.
Well, we can move to table, but I believe we have a motion on the floor already.
What would happen if we table it? Does that start the clock for them for?
It would, that would, because
No.
it would be, it's basically because 24 hours following their submission, which was this morning at, actually this afternoon at like 12:30,
Mhm.
the next regularly scheduled meeting is the November meeting. So that's when statutorily the clock would start. And so you're you know, either doing them a favor by receiving it now and getting the clock started, or helping them shoot themselves in the foot, depending on.
Right, which one?
Right.
Well, if there's a chance that it'd be agent approval, then they're not really harming them anyway.
Right.
But we just, between having no information and not statutorily approved, then I wouldn't feel comfortable about approving it. But we already have a motion on the floor to accept it for the next meeting.
I would like to withdraw my motion and move to table putting it on the agenda for the November meeting.
Yeah. I second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mark Parker, seconded by Kathy Barrick to table application 10-25-03 for Ann Amberg. Table that to the November wetlands meeting for want of statutory requirements and with more information. Any
That's-
further discussion?
I
All
think
those in
that's fair
favor?
to them and I mean. No, come on. Sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anyone abstain? The motion passes. Okay, administrative business. John, would you like
Yeah.
to?
Yeah, no, so no proposed administrative approvals at this time. My report was relatively brief. Again, we actually, and it's already out of date because we received a couple of the new applications, the Academy and this last one for 169. After I wrote the report, probably the most significant question outstanding is, or the most significant sort of talk of the town is the activity on Scenic Road undertaken by Brian Sheldon on Quarry Road, where he cut some trees and you know, cut himself a new driveway, messed around with the roadbed a little bit. It seems the specific details are a little unclear. I did require him to submit issue of a notice of violation because he had unpermitted activity on a scenic road per the ordinance, and he is before planning and zoning. His public hearing is November 6th, the next planning and zoning meeting. And yeah, and there's correspondence in the commission, the Conservation Commission, which I put into correspondence. I'm sorry, Bill, I'm sort of segueing right into correspondence for Conservation Commission because that's really.
Oh, go ahead. You just go with it.
Yeah, because I'm assuming there's no serious questions of my report. I don't know if there are, please let me know. But at this point, the Conservation Commission, speaking of Quarry Road, had some concerns, and Mr. Chairman Rowinski
Go
had
ahead.
asked that I include the minutes of the Conservation Commission in this, and they've had some questions about what was being done. You'll see, I don't know if you can see here, this is from the Yukon CT Eco viewers. This is Mr. Sheldon's property, and I should note that it's under the LLC. I believe it's Old Kings Highway Farm LLC. And so here's Quarry Road. There's a couple of fingers. There's a big swamp on the south side of Quarry Road, mostly in the town of Pomfret. And there's a couple of fingers of wetlands. It's not exactly clear. Quarry Road is very rural, few houses. There's very little in terms of addresses or property markings. So exactly where the lines are is a little uncertain. I believe Mr. Sheldon, there was a driveway right near the property boundary, which might have been in this area here. I believe he put a new driveway right in this area. And then there was some tree work and some road work on Quarry Road itself in this area. It wasn't clear to me, certainly going out there, there didn't seem to be any activity in the wetlands itself, or in immediate proximity. But he kind of acted first and asked questions later. So it's not precisely clear what he did. And again, most of what he did was tree clearing, not clear cutting, but cutting down a few trees basically along his frontage on Quarry Road. So it wasn't clear to me at all that there was some significant wetlands violation in this area. Certainly not to raise the question and have him come to present to planning and zoning. I didn't really have enough information to warrant an appearance before wetlands at this point, but that could be discussed.
Is Quarry Road a town gravel road?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
It's gravel and dirt road, not particularly well maintained. It is a town designated scenic road.
Right.
And
So,
I can bring up another map if that would be
so
useful.
it's more of a P and Z purview, and where his driveway ties into the road, that would have to meet certain public works requirements and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing of note, relative to the scenic road question, is the scenic road ordinance has no or else provision. It has no penalty. It has no penalty.
Right.
It has no sort of violation. And planning and zoning is actually going to be taking up the question of should the ordinance be updated to include some
Remediation. Yeah.
remediation and penalties.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm gonna, I can share the town's GIS map, but it's essentially the same layers as the Yukon map. But my understanding was this is a little area of clearing up here. I believe this is where Mr. Sheldon had represented to me verbally that he was building a little cottage in the woods, for his family to use, his kids to enjoy. And I believe the driveway was accessing this area. But again, the geography is a little bit hard to read in the field, just because there's very few landmarks.
Right.
It was, his activity was well past this. I know this swamp pretty well, visually. It was well past that. So I don't think he was right here, within spitting distance of the swamp. I believe it was the sort of the interior of the parcel here, but we're hoping for more information when he appears before planning and zoning.
Right. And it doesn't cross any of those two fingers, right. It's well in between them. Right.
Yeah. That's
So that would,
again. Yeah.
That would be in the upland review area. Yeah.
Is there an address for this? I'm unable to see it.
There isn't currently. He is assigning. I think he requested the address. I think 258 Quarry. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but I think that's approximately the address you requested. So I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if there was something else you wanted to highlight.
Well, I just want to go through what the recommendations from the Conservation Commission. Just for the record, I believe that Gene Pillow said that there was stumping done, stumps removed in the area. It's not clear to me whether they were actually next to the wetlands or otherwise affecting the wetlands. Just for the activity. B, it says the highway department should inspect the roadbed and right of way for adherence to road standards. The absence of stormwater conveyance swale along the roadway is a concern near sensitive wetlands. Revegetate the roadside right of way with fast growing grass as soon as possible to prevent erosion. The disturbed area should be reviewed by an engineer and the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Authority to determine if adequate stormwater, sediment, and erosion control is in place and wetlands resources will be protected and whether the wetland habitat north and south of Quarry Road has been compromised. Potential penalties, if warranted, are described in the Woodstock Inland Wetlands and Watercourses regulations effective June 4th, 2007, with amendments through February 2009. In our current regulations, I don't see anything for penalties of the type that she might be talking about. A perennial vegetation mix as directed by the highway foreman or planning and zoning commission should be planted to stabilize the roadside right of way and the roadside replanted to minimize the aesthetic impact to the scenic road. Talking about amending the scenic road ordinance to include financial penalties.
Right, and that's in process right now.
Yeah, and they recommend that the Woodstock Scenic Road Ordinance and inland wetlands and watercourse regulations should be enforced to the fullest extent to discourage future violations.
She's tough.
There's a history here, Kathy, that you might not be aware of, so.
Oh, okay.
So
Uh,
yeah, John, I'm thinking if um if the town highway department would be if they were to come in and widen those areas of the road of Quarry Road, which those fingers run through, down to the south to the larger wetland,
Yeah.
we would definitely be asking them to come before this commission,
Yes.
with their proposals and recommendations for how they widened the road. But in this case, apparently this private landowner took it upon himself to kind of widen those areas and clear out, and so the Conservation Commission, I think, has appropriately pointed out that this widening or this work that was done right along the edge of Quarry Road in those wetland areas, may require now a swale of some sort to kind of protect the rest of the wetland. So.
Yeah.
Whether that's the responsibility of the town or if we're gonna, if the town will then require the applicant or, the person that we're talking about to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think, Mr. Jason Scranton, the highway foreman, has been active in this discussion. And I think we'll probably be participating in the planning and zoning hearing next month about what ought to be required there. And I think, his widening, Mr. Sheldon's widening of the road is pretty informal. I think it was just, because again, it's a dirt road, but that's not particularly well defined in parts. There's not like a shoulder or anything like that. So I think he was just driving equipment back and forth, and that probably it resulted in more flat dirt rather than a formal widening of anything.
Right.
No excavation and leveling of a roadbed per se.
I don't know if it's still the same, but some of those lots in that area were not, haven't been fully surveyed either, so there might be issues with boundaries that we don't know about. So, John, would you mind if we relied on your opinion going forth from this, from the wetland side? Because you said you visited the site and
I did a couple times.
it's difficult to determine.
Yeah, no, I think what I would do is probably echo the comments of conservation and of this body, particularly relative to drainage and erosion on the road. Basically, that would affect the wetlands areas, to make sure that that's stabilized and protected,
Right.
at the cost of the applicant.
Okay, do you thinking of that as a recommendation or through a
Sure.
notice of violation or?
Good question. I think that could be maybe a recommendation on the record from the Wetlands Commission to be provided to the public hearing for planning and zoning.
Do you want to be a recommendation or a directive? We might be getting into legal issues there.
Yeah.
I think it could be a recommendation, and there's no like the planning and zoning process. There are really no guiding regulations other than the language of the ordinance itself, which requires activity to be proposed to planning and zoning. I think they have to balance, the rights of property owners and the maintenance of the scenic nature of the road. There's some balancing there, but there's no restriction on them requiring the applicant to do all manner of a repair, mitigation, what have you. So I think if you wanted to make a recommendation from wetlands to ensure that road stabilization measures are taken and appropriate drainage or swales are put in place, with consultation of the highway foreman and maybe town engineer, I think that could be very easily wrapped into a condition of approval by planning and zoning.
Yeah, I like that.
Would someone like to make a
Could
statement to that?
could you say that? Could you say that one more time? I'm trying to process this, John.
Okay. Okay. Well, so I'll try to phrase it in the form of a possible motion, if that's would work.
Yep.
Would be to formally forward a recommendation from the Inland Wetlands Watercourses Agency that, how do I want to say this? That the stabilization of the surface and shoulders of Quarry Road be performed to ensure that the integrity of the wetlands is preserved as the site is stabilized and completed.
Okay, what's the second one?
Cooperation with the,
In
Highway
cooperation
foreman.
with the highway foreman and town engineer. Recommendations of the highway foreman and town engineer.
yeah, Leanne could probably bring up your original statement and put them both together, so. Shall we have a vote on this?
I think you probably want someone to make the motion approximately.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's why I'm asking
Okay.
for a motion.
Very smart.
Mark, are you writing or?
I'm writing, but I was kind of hoping Stuart might take
I'll make a motion that we'll put this on our agenda for next month to review and offer our recommendation for best courses forward on this particular site work.
So your next meeting is November 3rd. It's actually in advance of the public hearing. So if you want to,
We
that's
need
what you
to do
mean,
some
Stu.
we need to do some research on our end, I think. Isn't that what we're struggling with, having enough information to be able to determine what the extent of damage is whether it's what's in upland review, what's not. We actually should make a site visit for this. That's my feeling. I don't know
You know,
what other guys do.
right, so, and actually get some actual measurements on
Yeah.
those two sections of Quarry Road, which cross over that wetland area. You know, so if we're talking, 50 feet or, 100 feet or whatever, and, yeah.
I'm looking at the Google map aerial, and that's huge wetlands there. So
So that it would give us time to kind of research that, get some measurements, and then we could make our recommendation, that, together, well, all that language that John just mentioned,
yeah,
to preserve the wetland, the 100 feet of wetlands at this point, the, 75 feet of wetlands at this other point, and, and in cooperation with the highway department and the town highway foreman, blah, 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 Yeah.
well, this appears to be a low traffic volume road, even though it's a scenic road. It's very low traffic.
Very low traffic volume.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
it's
So
unless
nobody.
you've got a 4-wheel drive car, I wouldn't recommend commuting on this road.
Okay, so nobody knew what was happening at the time, and it's just like
Just the neighbor. Just
Yeah,
the neighbors.
the neighbors, and we also had a report from the highway crew that we're doing like just a little bit of routine maintenance and inspections of town roads.
Okay,
Right.
Okay. There's two things here now. We have the recommendation that John could move forward with. The other thing, if you and Mark want to go out there and look at it, that's fine. Just remember, you're not allowed to go on private property without permission
Right,
and consent of the
Yeah.
owner. So you got to be careful what you're doing there.
right.
yeah. Just do a
I'm
drive.
I'm okay with John moving forward or planning to move forward with the recommendation as we've already discussed. But if you guys want to follow up and report more for the next meeting, that would be a second thing.
Yeah, I think it's important to get the sense of scale for this.
So,
Uh,
are we
okay,
going to proceed down both tracks at this point?
Yes,
In
but we
absence of it, in absence of a
I-
different directive.
Yeah, but I think we should have
Yeah.
a vote for you moving forward with your,
Okay, I move that we move forward with approving John Guskowski to put together a recommendation from the Wetlands Commission that to be presented at the planning meeting, blah, 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 to preserve the integrity of the wetlands on the Quarry Road portion, whatever, in cooperation with the highway, yeah, all that language, John, that you said. So that, I'm gonna make that motion, okay? And then I'm prepared after that to make a recommendation that we put on next month's agenda to do a little more research. But anyway, this is the motion to approve that we move forward with the recommendation from this commission that we encourage cooperation with the town highway department on any work that needs to be done now on those sections of the road.
I'll second that motion with one caveat. I
Go
have a
ahead.
question. When the wetlands are, when more than 5,000 square feet of wetlands is impacted, then we have to get the Corps of Engineers involved, correct?
Correct.
So is there any, do we know if 5,000 square feet of wetlands has been impacted?
I'm fairly confident that they haven't been.
Okay.
And again, as we showed, you saw on the maps that there is a wetlands finger that goes, across Quarry Road.
Right.
I'm certain there's probably a culvert or multiple culverts that go under. So if anything was done on the surface of the road, which would be on top of any culverts that convey wetlands. So there's actual wetlands disturbance. I am confident that there is very, very little, but
Okay.
yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll go ahead with this second.
any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? The motion passes unanimously. Mark, are you looking to make a second motion to?
Oh, yeah, I move that we put on next month's agenda discussion and reporting on some research on Quarry Road that Stuart and I will be doing.
Sounds good.
And we'll stay right on the road. We won't go off to the edge, off the side of the road.
Absolutely. We'll
It's-
be
it's a-
behaving ourselves.
It's a constitutional issue, so.
Yeah, right.
All right, do we need to, we'll just make that a verbal recommendation for the agenda and
Yep.
unless you want to do it as official motion, Mark, I think you kind of presented it that way.
No, I'm just making it a recommendation that we put it on next month's agenda.
Okay, that's great. Moving on. John, do you have any correspondence?
Let's see, the correspondence, is the Conservation Commission minutes and then the cell tower petition. There's a couple of items relative to that. Both, I think, two pieces of correspondence submitted by Carl Cecil relative to Route 171 Woodstock Avenue West cell tower. Mr. Cecil copied the Wetlands Commission as well as Planning and Zoning, Board of Selectmen, and some others on his petition or motion for clarification and reopening of the Siting Council hearing on the cell tower consideration. So that's in, I couldn't really tell you exactly the legal intricacies of what he was proposing, but I think he's claiming that some information wasn't provided to the Siting Council per the Connecticut Environmental Protection Act, or SEPA, and was asking for them to reopen the issue. That's one item of correspondence. There's a second item of correspondence regarding, oh, why did I copy the whole thing here? There was something else that I thought we got.
I looked up several things myself today on it.
Yeah.
so-
Let me see if I thought reconsideration, that's this, yeah. No, so I guess this might have been the only thing. I think I had also just linked the Siting Council to the docket, so you guys could review
Yeah,
the specifics of the application.
so if I can interrupt you here,
Yeah, of course.
the original technical report we got does not include the wetlands evaluations and the first item on the list, the site plan thing, site evaluation report and project plans. This is for the other tower. Yeah, see, that's number one.
Yeah.
That was not on there, just the technical report on the bulk items. And the site evaluation and the wetlands inspection report were not in the technical report. So the wetlands were not actually shown on the technical report. I think the technical report was not complete, or it was not completed enough at the time it was posted. Unless there was some error. I don't know how we got those reports, whether they were sent to Dan or whether Dan pulled it down from the site. So I don't know that. There are wetlands there, and we've gotten inquiries from an abutter about that and claiming that there are more wetlands that they are not addressing. And we've been threatened with lawsuit if we make any approvals. At this point, it's pretty much up to the Siting Council. Going by the wetlands inspection report, they want to have, they're requesting or looking for a 30-foot right-of-way but they're only planning for a 12-foot gravel road. That farm road that was put in there looks like it split the wetlands long, long ago from whatever it was put in. So it's not saying there won't be any impact from the road to the wetlands. The tower itself appears to be on a stable location that is not in wetlands. Is that, John, do you have any other?
No, I think
Comments?
yeah. Yeah, I have no further comments on that.
So at this point, I don't know that there's any more that we really need to pursue on this, unless somebody else would like to look at the reports and see if there's something else in there. Just because to have the 30-foot right of way doesn't mean they're gonna crash down the walls and fill in the wetlands and,
Right.
you know, if they're having overhead wires or underground wires. I mean, the proposal at this point is for the 12-foot gravel road.
What,
So-
sorry to interrupt, Stuart
Go ahead.
Beasley here. The comment in one of the letters I remember seeing was that they were gonna have diesel generators and the fuel storage for that was an issue for them. And those were on one of the letters that we received from the public. Is there any more information about that? Was there like a 250-gallon tank, 500-gallon tank, or would it have any consideration to be pursued on installing that with safety precautions?
I don't know of anything further on that. I mean, that was brought up.
I know that for example, I replaced the oil tank at my house, and the guy came to I did it myself, and he came to. I was trying to save money, and he came to deliver oil, and he said, "Well, you didn't put that in correctly." He took a picture of it and sent it in, and they said, "Yeah, it needs the it needed the little feet on the 2-inch extensions."
Yeah,
And so I said, "Okay, I'll take care of it." Got it done, but I just know that, you know, there's a lot more arduous and strict regulations with regards to fuel storage.
Yeah.
I mean, I poured a concrete pad for it and everything, but it still was one little detail. So in this case, my question would be, if there is maybe even a 1,000-gallon tank, we don't know, but it would be certainly prudent to check the code on this.
well, the designation of the soil and part of the tower site is prime farmland, and the road goes through statewide important farmland soils.
Well,
somebody-
I would, yeah. After we received the complaint from the local citizen, you know, that we should have had access and reviewed all this. When I reviewed all the information on that DEP webpage, and then I looked at the July 31st, first at 2 p.m. on July 31st, the members of the siting council met and asked a lot of questions of the applicant, and they also awarded intervenor status for an attorney who was representing some people from the town of Woodstock. And when I looked at all the questions that now Brian Gombolewski, some of you may know Brian. Before Brian currently works at the DEP, and he's worked for many years when I was there. He was also the inland wetlands agent of the town of Thompson many years ago. Very familiar with the inland wetland regulations. And when I reviewed all of his questions and he addressed all the issues as far as, you know, agricultural soils and wetland soils and everything, and he, you know, he acknowledged that there was wetlands there and it was an existing, you know, cart road. He asked all the questions that I would have asked as an inland wetlands agent, and that any of you would have asked, in my opinion. So I took all that and then I notified the Woodstock citizen who had contacted me and Bill, saying that he might, they were considering maybe taking the the town of Woodstock and Wetlands Agency, to court because we didn't we didn't give our input on the application, and all the materials, but Brian Gombolewski did, and he represents the DEP on the siting council, and after all was said and done, he was satisfied with all the answers that were given. So the Woodstock resident who was all worked up about this, who had contacted me and Bill, was satisfied. I notified him and I told him, I would have asked all the questions that Brian Gombolewski asked, and and ultimately it's the siting council's decision. We couldn't come in as a town wetland. There's state statutes that says the siting council can overrule any local agency, input, or we could certainly give our opinion and our recommendations, but again, Brian Gombolewski did that. So I have no problem with, letting this go from this point forward.
Yeah, the key word there is AHJ, authority having jurisdiction.
Correct, yeah.
A motion to take no further action on this issue.
I move we take no further action.
I second.
Any further discussion? I have a motion by Mark Parker and second by Kathy Barrett to take no further action on the proposed cell tower at 835 Route 169 in Woodstock, Connecticut. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. And it looks like the vote is unanimous.
That's
Okay.
all the relevant correspondence. I will put up on the screen, anticipating, I believe, the next relevant relevant agenda item is the financial report, which I neglected to link, but it's in the documents below. And this is the financial report. I don't think there's anything shocking.
No, it's just that the reports for the newspaper are running about $60 a pop, so.
Yeah, it's we're using, I think Stonebridge Press is still the most reasonably priced. I don't feel totally comfortable about using the shopper's guide, because it's I don't know if it's particularly a newspaper, it's an ad.
Yeah.
But yeah, until the Connecticut General Assembly changes our ability to publish in newspapers, I've been using the Stonebridge Press, Woodstock Villager.
Yeah. I believe we have a CACIWIC conference coming up. I don't know if anybody's thinking about going, because we do have money for dues and conferences.
When is that coming, Bill? Do you have a date?
November something or other. I forget the date.
Look it up quickly. November 15th.
Yeah, November 15th. Yeah. I actually got a
Saturday.
Yeah.
I will
That's-
not, I can't make it. I've already got a previous engagement on that day, so.
John, do we get credits for our necessary credits for land use commissioners?
I believe wetlands commissioners still are not required to have periodic training. I think we're still at the point of at least one of you has to have gone through the wetlands training. But I do not believe there are the same requirements as planning and zoning and ZBA, which would cover use too. But I don't think wetlands, exclusively wetlands commissions, I think do not have to have the same periodic training requirement.
However, there was a request. There was a request from Chandler to submit everybody's
training
conferences or whatever training.
Yeah.
So they're they're looking at it a little bit, so.
Yeah, and I believe there was actually a bill proposed this past session that would have required wetlands training equivalent to planning and zoning and ZBA, but that I do not believe passed. So everyone
Yeah,
but you
so
dodged a bullet this time, Stu.
If it's not required, then yeah, maybe I'll let it go till next year. All right.
Okay, so John, did you have to ask
Yeah.
Chandler for this? For the electronic signatures?
Oh, yes. So yeah, so we did get the discussion of electronic signatures. That was submitted to Attorney Roberts and he did reply. And so this is a transcript of your questions, Mr. Chair, and
Yep.
Rich's responses. So if you want, we can go through them.
The basic, I mean, it'd be good for everybody to look at them individually. The basic thing is, if we're gonna have electronic signatures, we should use some, as he says, trusted third-party service. He does make a comment on something else further down. He says there's not much case law on the subject. UETA seems to suggest that a party may not be forced against its will to accept electronic signatures. Talks about the submission for being on the last day on which the town is open for business and not necessarily will be Thursday. He said we could do it without the third party, but if there's some other method of confirming the authenticity of the signature, such as tying it back to a phone number or email address, that should work.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to go step by step, read through this, or?
Not tonight.
Yeah. I'd also note, and I don't know if you mentioned this in there. I do know, yeah, that there is statutory references for building applications, building permits can be pulled using electronic signatures for people that are registered with the building official's system, whatever electronic system. So there is if there is a system in place for people submitting things electronically and attesting to your signature, the building official can use those. And I think multiple municipalities have been receiving all manner of applications, health, zoning, wetlands permits in addition to building, basically using that same statutory authorization and essentially basically building it off of the building official's online permitting system with no trouble that I'm aware of. But yeah.
Which is Mr. Roberts' last comment is that we should be changing our regulations to allow for that. So that would be something that we would have to discuss for changing regulations. And it would be highly recommend to establish that before we actually put it into service. Okay, moving on is
Okay, sorry.
the
Is
MOU.
MOU. Is that where we are? Like electronic forms, MOU,
Application.
the application forms.
Well, the applications form is going to take some time. I don't know if we're going to want to get into it tonight.
Okay.
The MOU, we have the final draft that we oppose to adopt. All the editing and red light, oh, there's still, oh, those are links, sorry.
No, that's purple. It's yeah, it's linked.
So unless anybody has any issues with this, we could vote to approve this tonight, even though Marla's not here and she was, did the work on it?
I don't have any issues with it.
Good. Somebody put a lot of work in.
Yeah, Marla did.
Marla.
Hmm.
Mark, you okay with that, or
Yep, I'm okay with it.
so shall we make a vote on this and,
I vote we accept the memorandum of understanding with the Woodstock Woodstock Department of Public
Department.
Works, General Maintenance, FY 25-26, as it's been presented to us tonight.
Second the motion.
was that Mark first?
But
It
I
was.
complete. I don't know. I think we were right neck and neck on that.
Yes, Stuart and I were complimentary.
So who wants the credit? Who wants the credit for it?
Stuart got it.
No.
You could leave
All
that,
right,
you could
yeah.
leave that to Leanne's wisdom.
Yeah.
Eeny,
Motion by
meeny.
Kathy Barrick, seconded by Mark Parker or Stuart Peasley, whoever what the recording says, to approve the memorandum of understanding for Woodstock Department of Public Works General Maintenance for fiscal year 25-26 as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. So the
I
motion
will-
passes unanimously.
I will forward that to the Public Works Director and the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. Just as long as the understanding this is that this is not necessarily a binding thing that we're looking for a signature for. This is how we expect to be interacting with each other.
Yep.
Okay, then does anybody want to go through any of the applications?
Nope.
There's a couple of red line things still in there that
I move we table that to next month.
Second the motion.
okay. Yeah, motion by Mark Parker and seconded by Stuart Peasley to table review of the draft IWWA application forms till next month. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes unanimously.
One question on that, how flexible or open are we with this? Is it right on the cusp of just doing minor tweaks, or is it possibility of looking at different formats altogether? I know Marla put a lot of time into it, but she said she got a lot of it from Thompson's. So I'm just wondering if there's any flexibility here. What do you guys think?
We haven't adopted it yet, so anything's possible. If you have some specific things that you can think about or come up with, then we can discuss them further, so.
Bring it to
Okay.
the table at next month's tabled meeting.
Okay,
That's as far as we can go with it tonight.
okay.
Is there any other business that falls under this section of administrative business?
Nothing on my
Okay.
side, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and I don't believe we don't have any citizens for comments. So unless anybody else has something to bring forward, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn October 6th meeting, Inland Wetlands Watercourse Agency.
You're gonna read the whole agenda now?
No.
No.
Do we have a second?
Ken,
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Oh,
Okay.
Kathy got it in. Kathy seconded.
No.
No? Oh, okay, I'll second
No,
it.
I just wondered if you're gonna read the whole agenda before we could.
No.
No.
Okay, we have a motion by Stuart Peasley, seconded by Mark Parker to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes unanimously at 8:52 PM.
Yes. Right under the